Happy New Year, lads! What is up? On the previous episode, we directly incorporated some of our substates into the Russian Empire. We engaged in a little bit of state management, and we finished the episode around the spot where we annexed southern Manchuria and we took some steps to Russify and develop one of the Siberian states. In this episode, we will continue focusing a little bit on our internal affairs, and if given the opportunity, perhaps I will also try to expand a little bit as long as my infamy allows it. Specifically, I want to be done with China by integrating Northern Manchuria, and I also obviously want to integrate the Central Asian states. So I began by building a couple dozen more ships to bolster up my navy. I mean, I can afford it after all. And I also ordered the construction of a few more factories, especially in areas where Russian craftsmen pops are prevalent. And in Prussia, as you can clearly see, I am still promoting unemployment since 100% of the craftsmen there are Germans. And other than this, I will also have to organize my army a little bit, since apparently I can raise yet another 60 brigades. And yeah, I am also bolstering up my army a little bit. Oh, and I just got a random event that gives me 1 life rating in Alaska. And in case you didn't know, that doesn't actually do anything, since in order to get any bonus from life rating, it needs to be at least above 30. But you know, I'll take it. Why not? As always, Japan is being a pest, and they are trying to wrestle control of Korea out of me. So I am kind of thinking about potentially attacking them in the future in order to knock them out of great power status, mostly. And if hypothetically I was to go to war with Japan, it wouldn't be particularly troublesome since they only have 1 ship right now. But you know, they also have around 9 million accepted pops, which would make a potential land invasion of Japan pretty troublesome, to say the least. I suppose that maybe I could go for a land invasion only after I invent gas attack. But yeah, for the time being, I will continue focusing on my country, be mostly peaceful, and I will advance as soon as I have enough infamy leeway in order to declare another war. I am pretty sure that as soon as you invent biologism, this tech tree becomes worthless. All it gives you is a negligible amount of education efficiency, a little bit of colonial migration, and a lot of consciousness, which is bad. I can't see how wasting 40,000 research points on these two could ever be worth it. But yeah, speaking of gas attack, I am still pretty behind in military tech. In fact, I haven't even invented guards yet, which is actually what I'm going to go for. The Germans are once again at war with France over Alsace, and if I had to take a wild guess, I expect that the French AI will have the majority of its force once again in Africa, and that the Germans are going to steamroll them. French autism aside, it appears that Italy has fully formed and they appear to be in a pretty good shape. They also have a good military tech, and interestingly, they also have Corsica. Plus, they obviously managed to keep Savoy and Nice, which is a pretty good indication of just how bad the French AI has been doing so far in this campaign. Anyways. A thing that I have kind of completely forgotten about are the Suez and Panama canals. However, the reason why I have forgotten about them is because I am not getting the prompt on the decisions, which tells you what are the requirements, technological requirements to get it built. I do remember, however, that one of them are iron streamers and another one is nitroglycerin. So yeah, I will invent those two, and if it still doesn't pop up, I will simply look it up online. The war against the French and the Germans has already ended, and judging from the fact that Alsace is in German control, I can guess that the French lost once again. Oh, and I just got this revolution and counter-revolution event. And actually I have forgotten what it means. Does it mean that fascism will appear soon? I don't remember. Anyways, let's continue. So now that I invented guards, I am obviously not going to do anything with them. There's no way in hell I am going to manually replace hundreds of infantry. But yeah, maybe in the future I will a few armies of special elite troops that have guards, but yeah, that's just about it. And I will continue by inventing machine guns. Yamalia is not getting as much pops than I would have preferred. Obviously, they are doing fine, but I was expecting a little bit more out of this bonus. So what I'm going to do is I am going to grant them statehood, and I am pretty sure that this modifier is going to persist. Even though clearly it is meant for colonies, I am pretty sure that the game has no way to tell that... Oh, apparently I was wrong. So yeah, because I'm retarded, I just lost a really good modifier. That's fine, I guess. However, interestingly, my colonial migration focus has still persisted. Obviously, it is grayed out because Yamalia is no longer a colony, but unless I specifically remove it, it will persist. Obviously, I am going to remove it because the entire point was that it was going to synergize with the Land Liberty Labor event in order to maximize the amount of immigrants, but since I fucked things up, I will just use the focus somewhere else, like Constantinople. Or Tsargrad, rather. I still have plans to Russify them. As Egypt is getting closer and closer to westernizing, reactionaries are pretty much going apeshit, and that's fine actually, because this time Egypt has finally managed to maintain a respectable standing army. But the UK also has a suspiciously high concentration of troops in Syria. So yeah, I think that restoring an independent Kurdistan is going to be imperative for my plans, because otherwise I will have to rely to shipping in reinforcements to Egypt, which is not ideal. And I will also finally grant statehood to Alaska, since they have reached 15,000 pops and they are majority Russian. Oh, and apparently this is a visual bug. I cannot actually grant them statehood because there aren't any Russian bureaucrats. So yeah, I will have to encourage some. Oh, and actually I am getting the promotion bug right now. And all Russians are assimilating into Alaskan as soon as they promote to bureaucrats. And interestingly enough, Alaskan is actually an accepted culture, so it's not the end of the world. The real reason why I cannot grant them statehood is because I need 2000 colonial power points, That's ridiculous. Why would I never need this much? Honestly, some things in Wiki are pretty arbitrary. But yeah, at least for the time being, we can forget about granting statehood to Alaska. Let's focus to something else. Tomsk is over 90% Russian and has over 200,000 pops, so let's grant statehood to these guys instead. So yeah, now I can grant the guys at Tomsk statehood, which is great actually, because some of their RGOs are getting filled up, which causes unemployment to them. So yeah, now we will be able to industrialize this area. And now I will go towards incorporating Transbaikal, which is 60% Russian, and judging from the name, I suppose that it must be next to Lake Baikal, next north of Mongolia. So yeah. And once we're done with those guys, we will also have to grant statehood to Yekaterinodar, which is actually Ukrainian majority, then Tobolsk, and then Yeniseisk, or whatever the fuck it's spelled. All those are quite populous states with a Russian base majority, and once I'm done with them, I suppose that I will also go for Arkhangelsk, since it has around 50,000 pops and it is Russian majority, and then I will be more or less done with integrating my colonies, at least for a few years. Those poor German guys on Königsberg, they have been unemployed for decades so far. But yeah, keeping under consideration the fact that I want to Russify them among other provinces, it would make a little sense for me to just keep those German craftsmen employed. And despite the fact that I haven't paid any particularly attention to Russifying them, so far we are not doing very bad. Over 3.6 of the population is Russian. So yeah, if in the future, if I use the attract immigrants focus, and if those German factory workers completely die out, then maybe I will be able to get Russians to 10 or even 20%. And yeah, this is why I wanted an independent Kurdistan. The Anglos are being cheeky and they are attacking them for Syria. And it goes without saying that I will not stand for this. So yeah, it is wartime. And I am kind of thinking about just attacking the Ottomans and ignoring everything. My only hesitation is the fact that they are on friendly relations with the Japanese, which means that I will have to go to war with them. But yeah, this isn't time to be hesitant, I will just go for it. And who knows, maybe I will be able to just ship in reinforcements without directly attacking the Ottomans. At this spot of the game, the Ottomans are so weak that I could actually make them my puppet. However, it is a little bit of a risk, to be honest. You know what? It's only 140 days. I think that I am going to go for it. Yeah, screw it. I mean, I am pretty strong, right? As long as Austria doesn't betray me, even if I get shit RNG and get discovered immediately. If Austria remains loyal to me and doesn't backstab me, it shouldn't be a huge deal. Oh, and I completely forgot. The Swede cocks are being cheeky. So yeah, I will use my naval superiority, trap their troops here, and hopefully if the British do not send naval reinforcements, I should be able to occupy the entirety of their country and knock them out of the war. A little bit of a problem is the fact that My force is still quite disorganized. I would much rather have this war begin at least 1 year later, so that my army would be in a much better shape. But it shouldn't be a huge deal. I will simply use my numerical superiority. And as long as I don't get fucked up RNG and I don't get over the infamy limit, I should be fine. Even with the Japanese forcing me to pay extra attention to the Eastern Front. Only realistic way of this backfiring on me is some fucked up scenario of a coalition where even the Austrians join in against me. That would be pretty hard to deal with. Oh, and that's great actually. Since I am the leader of the war, I can call them. And that's exactly what I am going to do, because now, since they will be fighting this war together with me, it will be mechanically impossible for them to betray me. Even if they break our alliance, they will not be able to attack me in the middle of the war, so that's great. Other than this, I will ship these guys to Egypt and 2 or 3 more armies. I will send another 1 or 2 armies to turn the Ottomans into my puppet. I will send an expeditionary force to Sweden. Obviously, I am going to mobilize, and I will impose a blockade on Japan to prevent them from attacking my vulnerable positions here. Well, they're not really vulnerable. I have a bunch of armies, but for some reason I am not very optimistic. We will see. Anyways, that's going to be it for this episode. A little bit shorter than my usual half-hour episodes, but it is New Year's Eve and soon I will have to dine with my family. Once again, I want to wish you lads a happy new year for all of us. Hopefully this new decade is going to be better for all of us, I hope, with less bullshit, etc, etc. And yeah, I will be seeing you on the next one. See you lads.